I'd always somehow get into conversations with friends like, "Man, where's our, like, person who can, like, speak our point of view or, like, maybe even, like, rebut some of these people bashing us here instead of us just saying, 'Oh, well, maybe they're right, I don't know.'" Um, and I think you and your work kind of filled that void for me at least, and so I really admire it. But how'd you get started in that whole online, world, and, what's your purpose behind it?
Sure. So the Reason in Theology owner, Michael Lofton, he was looking for an OO guy, like a token OO guy, and my friend Elijah Yessi, Syriac Catholic, his name's Ihab. He he reached out to me. I've known him for years, like in real life. He used to live here in San Diego, and we used to talk all the time. Like he introduced me to the church fathers. This is like, I don't know, 13 years ago or something, 12 years ago. And so we stayed in touch till now. We're close.
Mhm.
So he told Michael Lofton, he used to watch that channel before. So he told Michael Lofton, hey, like I know this OO guy, he's my friend, whatever. And then he had me on the first show. It was me, Lofton, and Craig, and I was giving this kind of intro on OO. They were asking me questions, and we were talking about it. And then from there, um, I was like on a bunch of roundtables on different topics like atonement or purification after death, whatever, random topic.
Mhm.
Um, and then when Craig left Reason and Theology, I then was going on both of those channels, and it was kind of more people were seeing me because of that. And I think my last episode on Reason and Theology was a debate. It was me and Eric Ibarra, a good friend of mine, Ehab and Lofton about Ephesus 1. That was the last show I did on that channel. Yeah, that's how.
For people who don't know, Reason and Theology is like a Catholic, YouTube channel, community. Um,
Yeah, yeah, they're they're
okay.
uh they're like uh, they wouldn't say they're liberal. They would say probably moderate, but the conservative Catholics are not the biggest fans. That's why, like my friend Ehab or Eric Ibarra,
Mhm.
William Albrecht, all the guys I used to do the shows with on there,
Yeah.
none of them go on that channels. Yeah.
Okay. And when you were starting to do all of this stuff, did you feel like a pressure, a burden? If I'm gonna be the voice of like the OO point of view, I better like come prepared, come with receipts. Like, how did you approach that, and why didn't you shy away from it? Uh,
So coincidentally, I had just come back. I was at the monastery on the East Coast for 3 months. I
mhm.
had just come back. I was wearing my cassock everywhere. And that's when that started. It started right when I had come back. So I'm like, oh, perfect timing. I just came back from the monastery. I learned all this stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I was reading books and whatever. And I was like, yeah, why not? Nobody else is doing it. Let me give OO some exposure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you took it as like, this is perfect timing. I'm ready for this.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
it. Um, so at the monastery, you were there studying, and what was that 3-month monastery
Yeah. So I
about?
went
What?
so in July of 2018, there was this Syriac youth gathering, I think they call it, SIG,
Mhm.
young adults. Um, the archdiocese on the East Coast, the church in Jersey, the cathedral, the community is, I think, bigger, or was bigger originally, is bigger than it is on the West Coast. So that's kind of where everything happens. They have like more resources, whatever.
Mhm.
We were there for the gathering, and then I met His Holiness the Patriarch Mar from the Second of Antioch. I met the Archbishop of the Eastern Archdiocese, and uh, the bishop, he told me, he said, "Why don't you come? Why don't you study to be a priest or whatever?" First, he said, "Cool beard. Why don't you be a priest?" That's the first thing he said. Um, So, and we were talking, and then we were like trying to figure things out, and he had proposed like Vladimir's or whatever. And and then like I came back, after that conference, or I came back here, and then I was talking to Abuna and Sayyidna, um, the priest and the bishop here, and the bishop was like, "Yeah, you have my blessing. Go be a blessing for our church wherever you go." So I went back there. I was there for 3 months in the monastery before the semester started. So from September to December at the monastery, and I learned when I was there. I learned Syriac. I learned the daily prayers, this kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And, and then something happened. Like I was back here for Christmas break. My dad got sick, uh, and so Abuna was like, Daniel, see if you can like study from here, that you don't have to go back. And coincidentally, I had brought all my stuff with me anyway, because when I was gonna go back, I was gonna go back to New York to Vlad's. I wasn't gonna go back to Jersey where the monastery
Mhm.
is. So I called Sayyidna. I told him before he puts in the tuition. I called Sayyidna. I said, uh, my dad's sick. Is there any way I could like study from here or whatever? He's like, Vlad's doesn't have that kind of situation. I talked to Sayyidna in California. I was like, I want to continue this, but from here. He's like, okay, yeah. Then the whole thing with Agora happened. And then, which to be honest, I preferred Agora over Vlad's anyway. So that worked out. And I think from like going forward, the East Coast is sending their guys to Agora too instead of Vlad's.
Mhm.
Um, so then, yeah. So I started Agora under His Eminence Marogin here in California. And just haven't looked back.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like you're an overthinker. Like, opportunity arises, you get some guidance, and you're just like, "Yeah, let's go for it."
Right.